Good morning. Welcome back to the JagCorner. I'm Will Thorup. I'm your host here at the JagCorner. If this is your first time here at the JagCorner, we just talk about the Atari Jaguar a lot. Talk about Atari and other game stuff. We also do some programming and we play some games. In last week, if you were here last week, there wasn't much of a last week. So I skipped my Tuesday stream because my wrist and my hand was experiencing quite a bit of pain and haven't had any issues since then. But I did do a stream on Wednesday, and I was planning on doing a stream on Thursday morning as well. But to be honest about that, completely honest about that, I forgot to set my alarm, and so I woke up like an hour and a half later than I usually do. So that was a bit frustrating on my end. I did want to get 2 streams in last week, especially with Baldies. We were playing Baldies, which is kind of it's a real-time strategy game. Generally speaking, it's like a mix of Populous with Lemmings with I don't know, Warcraft 1 or something, and it's fun. I'm actually it isn't the best real-time strategy game I've ever played, but I'm planning on doing quite a few episodes with that. It'll be a filler episode when I don't want to think too much about what I'm going to play every other week. We may pick up on it again next week. I may split next week. We'll do one day of Baldies, and then I'll pick another game. But so that's what happened last week. It was a little bit rough, but this week planning on doing 2 streams again, this morning and then tomorrow morning as well, same time, 6 a.m. Mountain Standard. I don't know what that is on the East Coast or the West Coast, but yeah, so pretty early for me. I wake up at 5 a.m. my time, and this is kind of part of my morning ritual in the middle of the week, and so I'm glad to be here. Let's talk about a little bit of news before we get going. Let me see. I think I got this all set up good. I kind of rushed into the stream this morning, so I think everything is set up correctly. So forgive me if there's a little bit of duct tape here in the middle of the stream. But we do have, if this is your first time, on our homepage, we have more details about some of the projects that we're working on. Just some other videos you can look at for other games that we streamed in the past, other Talkin' Jag Dev episodes. Also some, I already mentioned this, but some details on other projects that we're working on here at the JagCorner under our development name BitJag. And so we have a compilation coming up called Crescent Memories, which should have been done a long, long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away. But we're making some progress on it. I've taken this detour with actually what we're going to be doing today. We're working on something called the 240p test suite. It's just a set of tools that are used to test your hardware, depending on the platform you have, and also calibrate your CRT. And even your LCD a little bit, like the color tests and stuff like that could be used on an LCD as well, to a certain extent. But once we kind of wrap up on the 240p test suite, at least as far as I can get, we'll be returning back to Crescent Memories. And I put in some time off stream on Crescent Memories, so it isn't completely forgotten. But yeah, there's lots more details on there, some screenshots of the games. The games themselves are coming close to being finished. I've been battling whether to expand on Audit Will Be Watching. It has a gameplay loop, like it is a game. It's not as interesting as I would like it to be. That's why I'm thinking about putting some more time in it. But on the other hand, I really want this to be out the door and finished because I have some other games that I want to work on. I'm kind of I'm in a slight limbo state right now, where I'm deciding, am I going to be happy with polishing it off the way it is and getting it released, or will I be unhappy in the future if I don't give it a little more attention and expand on it a little bit? Don't get me wrong, it is fun. It is fun to play. It could be better though, and so I'm debating whether to put more time in it or not. Anyways, until that day, that coveted day comes where you can purchase a copy of Crescent Memories yourself. There's more details on there. There's also some previous Jag Talk streams, and I'm thinking I should probably put another section here on the website for streams that include details about these games on here. But hey, Matt Smith, good morning. I just saw the chat. How you doing? Good to see you again. Sorry I missed last week, man. I don't know if you just jumped in. I talked about that a little bit. My Thursday wasn't as planned. I was planning on streaming Thursday because I missed Tuesday, and so my alarm was I didn't set my alarm, so I woke up late, and so I'm like, you know what, I could probably squeeze it in, but I didn't want to rush it or anything, and so I'm like, let's just wait until next week. We'll start streaming again next week. But anyways, yeah, so here's our software page on JagCorner. Not a whole lot here. There are a few things we've worked on in the past. I've done a couple little demos, just a little Christmas demo here, so what I've been thinking as well for these streams as a way of avoiding what I should actually be working on, is going back and reworking the code on these demos and re-releasing them. Back when I did these back in 2016 and 2014 for the PRG, or the Portland Retro Gaming Expo demo, I was quite ignorant in regards to the removers library and how to do things, and with C code in general, and so it's a miracle that these programs work at all. These three programs, like, I go back and I think about what I remember, how I did things, and I'm like, how was it not crashing all the time? So anyways, I want to go back and rework these. I figured out some cool things, especially with the PRGE demo. The intro, there's a scroll that happens there. I figured out how to properly do scrolling, at least for that, the way that scrolling is applied to that demo, that I would like to go back and fix and optimize that and add something in that I wasn't able to add because it was running too slow previously. And so I'm thinking about hopping over to one of these here in the next couple of weeks. Well, probably in the next month or so, after we finish the 240p test suite, and polish those up. Like the Christmas demo wouldn't take long. I think we could do a lot in just 2 streams with that one. PRGE demo would probably take about 4 streams to get that updated and updated to the point where, to my current skill level. And then Flappy McFur, I'm already updating that. In fact, there is something I want to do, because I'm not using this new scrolling method in Flappy McFur right now, and so I would like to apply that Flappy McFur just to make sure it is rock solid in terms of frame rate and stability. So anyways, yeah, check out the website. Don't forget, if you're seeing this later, to subscribe to our newsletter. I'm planning on doing some exclusive content there, or at least temporarily exclusive content there, and it's a way I can get a hold of you regardless of what platform you're on, in case you leave Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or wherever. Email, yes, it's the new snail mail for sure, but it is people hold on to their emails typically a little bit longer than social media still. Of course, Facebook's been pretty long standing, so it could be around for a while. Who knows with Twitter nowadays, with Elon Musk planning on or trying to purchase it, and the people at Twitter fighting back on that, and so who knows what will happen to Twitter. Facebook seems to be pretty stable right now, and so but email isn't going to go anywhere, I don't think, not anytime soon. So, but no worries about the stream. Yeah, it's weird. This stream is interesting to me. I'm trying to figure out how much I'm supposed to be a showman versus just making this an opportunity for people who are interested in Jag programming and stuff, just as an opportunity to talk to somebody who's been doing it. And so I kind of feel bad that I wasn't consistent last week, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm doing this, I don't want to sound terrible here, kind of as a favor to everybody else. But at the same time, I do enjoy the streams. It's it gets me to think about the Jag programming quite a bit differently, but it also gives me an opportunity to chat with people who are interested in this stuff. And we're kind of a small group, and so it's fun that way. It's fun to just talk to a small group of people like you, Matt, like Dataset User. Stage One Boss comes on every once in a while, so it's good to speak with you guys a little bit about this, sharing our hobby a little bit. Anyways, I do enjoy it, and I'm grateful that you're here, grateful that I'm able to stream, and I'm planning on doing it in the future. To get just slightly personal, I am looking for a house right now, and so there will come a time here sometime in the future. Honestly, the housing market is crazy here in the States, and so I was hoping to get into a house in the last couple months, but that hasn't worked out. And so I've kind of stepped back from that, thinking about changing my strategy a little bit. So it might be a little bit another year or two before I get into a house, but we'll see. The reason why I bring that up is that we'll probably put a pause on the streams for a month or two, and then I'll be back. But and I'll let you know when that happens on stream, when and if that happens. So we have a few news items. First one is JCP version 2.00.07 and Skunk Board BIOS. So we have a BIOS update for Skunk Boards, and he has two versions here, and I think that's because it has to do with the EEPROM access. So somebody, and I don't think it was Cubanismo, it was somebody else. I think I have it right here, actually. I actually pulled out my other Skunk Board. I don't have a case for it yet. Let me go back to Camlodge. Let's see here. Skunk Board, revision 5, 8 megabytes, and 2 times serial EEPROM. And I think they're 2K EEPROMs. I don't know if that's going to focus. It's probably not going to focus. Oh yeah, look at that, it focused. Anyways, this is one of the latest versions of the Skunk Board, thanks to Tercy, K-Skunk, Santo SP, Clint, Saturn, and Cubanismo. Oh, copyright Cubanismo. So yeah, he did do this one. And the reason why he's been updating JCP is to handle a few extra things that weren't there before, and I think he talks about that. So let's see here. The primary new feature in the new BIOS is the auto booting the Skunk memory track emulator from ROM. So apparently, and I didn't know if it had this before, I was actually a little bit surprised, so I'd like to try this out at some point, is the Skunk can emulate a memory track. So if you're doing any CD development, that can be really, really important. Even for new games that won't ever see a CD release, but will be released for like the Jag GD, that's still a useful thing to have if you're doing a larger game, because the memory track allotted a lot more memory to save things. And so anyways, so there's that update. It seems like he's done a few more, and honestly, I don't know where to dig that up. Might be here. Oh no, this is his first release. I'm just going to copy it over. Better detection and handling of ROMs that have headers specifying a start address other than. Oh, so he's also done an update that allows. So some Jag ROMs aren't. And I don't know all the ins and outs with this, so I could be take this with a grain of salt. But sometimes the headers in Jag ROMs aren't properly built or are just missing, and that's fine as long as you can tell it where to load the program. And it looks like he may have updated the Skunk libraries to better handle that, so JCP and stuff like that. So anyways, this is cool. I wanted to take a quick look at his commits, see if there's some other things. I should be following this. Oh, looks like he's updated the Mac OS built-in installer. That's cool. I'm not a Mac guy myself, but I know there's a lot of people that use Macs, and sometimes Mac users feel a little a little less even more uncared for than Linux users. And so, which I think is silly because a lot of this, especially these simple programs, porting them over to a Unix environment isn't very much harder than going over to a Linux environment. So if you've done the Linux side, of course don't have a whole lot of experience with that, but my impression based on things I've read, it seems like it's fairly easy as long as you aren't dealing with GUI stuff. So yeah, anyways, yeah, so it's cool to see that JCP is still getting updates. These skunk boards, I know a lot of people, I'm sure there's probably a little bit of this feeling that because of the JagGD being out there now, that the skunk has become less valuable. For me, it's still, I can't use the JagGD for development because the library hasn't been ported over to Linux yet. And so I can't plug it in USB and then quickly dump programs. I would have to put it on the SD card, pop it back into my JagGD, plug my JagGD. It's a lot of work, especially if you're constantly building your program and testing out details in your program. So the skunk board is still incredibly useful for me. There's also the issue of you can't run a JagGD with a CD-ROM unit attached. And for those of us that do have CD-ROM units, and I know we're a minority among Jag users, not being able to use that device with the Jag unit or the CD unit installed is a problem. And so the skunk doesn't have an issue with that. Works with that as well. Also, I'm going to make an assumption here. This could be wrong. It seems like the skunk library is a little more mature than the JagGD library. Obviously, from porting, having a Linux port of JagGD they don't have that yet. But also, I'm going to assume, I need to go check on the JagGD stuff in detail, but I'm going to assume there's probably more function calls, there's more support in general for that, just because it's been around longer. And it's not to say that the JagGD won't get that. It will get that eventually, I'm sure. But for now, skunk, I still think, is probably the best device if you're developing for the Jag. And it's going to be cheaper too. I don't think anybody's doing any of those right now, but they're usually about $100. And so they're going to be, what's the JagGD, 180 or something? And so it's nearly half the price. Anyways, it's worth getting one if you're doing any Jag development. I think it's still worth getting one if you're still just playing games too, because it's not that hard to dump programs to it, even in Windows. And I say even in Windows because in Linux, it's pretty easy to set up JCP and go get the right driver installed. I know a lot of people seem to have trouble installing the lib USB 1.0 driver in Windows. It's really easy in Linux. And yeah, anyways. Okay, enough about that. It's exciting to see that there's still updates to the skunk. I'm planning, I have 3 skunks and I use them, especially recently, for reasons I'll get to in a future stream. I've been using them quite a bit. They've been very useful. And my JagGD's been useful too, but simply because the skunk can be plugged into the CD unit and it's usable, I think it's still preferable if you're doing development on the Jag. So I don't like unplugging and plugging back in my CD unit. It's a lot of work. They're really expensive now, and so I don't even like touching my CD unit because of how expensive it is now. I'm worried about it breaking, which it will break one day, but I would like to avoid that as long as I possibly can. So anyways, okay, so there's that. I'm actually gonna turn my night light on my screen on, especially early in the morning. Okay, so the El Cheapo SD flash card for the Atari Lynx is only $45 right now. If you have not picked one of those up, I actually need to pick one up, so I may do that today. But there's an Easter sale going on right now, which is ending in just a couple days. Let's see here. What is it? The 20th? So tomorrow. At 12 AEST. 12 a.m. I think that's what he meant, Eastern time. So that would be 10 a.m. my time. So I have to make sure I get that purchase. Anyways, $45 is a great price. Honestly, don't know any of the details between this and Retro HQ's SD card reader. I don't know if there's any major differences. between those. This one, they think they talk about it like it's literally a drag and drop onto your ST, plug it in, you're good to go. I assume it has a menu and stuff like that. But anyways, I know I haven't seen any complaints. I watched the Lynx forums passively, and I haven't seen any complaints about the El Cheapo SD. So I need to pick up another SD card reader anyways. I only have one, I think. It would be nice to have two, just so I can, for multiplayer games that I don't have 2 copies of, I can do that, or any copy of, I can still do that. So anyways, yeah, take advantage of that if you're into the Lynx stuff. Definitely, that is crazy affordable, especially for an SD card reader. Like I was looking at what was it, Game Boy Color SD card readers, and I don't even think they're that cheap. Even the cheapest ones aren't that cheap. So he's probably just trying to move some stock. They may have another revision coming up or something, but again, I've heard nothing but good things about this SD card reader. So if you're looking for a cheap SD card reader for the Lynx, there it is. So I've left the best for last. So every once in a while, CJ Cyrano Jones on Atari Age does some more conversions for the Atari ST. So if you aren't aware, I'm gonna let this play a little bit. And hopefully I don't get copyright struck for this song. I shouldn't. It's the Amiga version of the song, so I doubt it'll be recognized. But oh, I never noticed that before. It says death equals adder. Excuse me. Cyrano Jones he's done quite a few ST ports. In fact, let me pause this really quick. I think at the beginning of this thread. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see anything. I forgot to switch it over again. Jean-Paul Marie, hello. How are you doing? Good morning. We're just talking about some news right now. We'll be getting to programming real soon. In fact, because I wasn't switched over to the browser, let me do, just really quick, I wanted to show you this. The El Cheapo SD card for the Atari Lynx is $45 right now, and so that sale ends tomorrow at noon Eastern time. And so take advantage of that if you're into the Lynx and you're looking for an SD card reader still. But I was before that talking about the Atari ST games that CJ's been porting over to the Jag for a long time now. There's quite a few. I think he has a list here. So there's a download list here. So these are playable only on the Skunk and the Jag GD if you don't have physical copies. So there is somebody else, and I always forget his name, somebody who does physical runs of these sometimes when he's available. And so there's no guarantee that there will be a physical copy available for these games. Some of these games have been licensed and sold. So for example, Pico Interactive has licensed 4 different games here. And Songbird has the license for Loops, and Atari Age has done quite a few releases as well, including Defender of the Crown, Lamatron Revenge of the Camels, Revenge of the Mutant Camels, which I was involved with. I did the menu artwork for that one, as well as the box art and stuff. And then Xeno, I forgot it. What is it called? Oh my goodness, I forgot it. Bitmap Brothers. Oh my goodness, this is gonna bug me now. Bitmap Brothers games. Xenon 2. I just remembered it. I just had to start typing something. Xenon 2. Yeah, so which are all good ports, and those are all available. You can purchase those. So all these licensed ones, I'm pretty sure you can go buy copies right now from Pico Interactive or Atari Age or Songbird. I'm pretty sure there's copies of those available. Then all of these are available as downloads, which you can upload to your Skunk board or your Jag GD. Oh, and it looks like Gazty. That's the one who's doing some physical releases. These are available for purchase, it looks like. If you want to, but they also have downloads as well. I would highly suggest getting Stunt Car Racer. That is a great game, and it runs really good on the Jag. I think it runs a little bit faster than it does on the ST. What is this one? Bionic Badlands? Is it Badlands? It might be Badlands. I don't remember playing that one. anyways, yeah, there's some really good games here. Not available. Ghouls and Ghost, Frontier Elite. So these are games that I think he started working on, but then he was asked to stop working on them at some point. Anyways, but yeah, CJ's been doing this for a while. Definitely something to get excited about when he starts porting new games. For example, he's doing Golden Axe, which is a classic one on the ST. I have tons of nostalgia for this one, playing this with my brothers and sister on the ST when I was a kid. So really good game. It's not the best port in the world. Another thing he does with these ports is they're the Atari ST versions, but he works in the Amiga audio, which I personally don't like, but a lot of people say the Amiga audio sounds better. The reason why I don't like the Amiga audio is I didn't grow up with it, so it's definitely all nostalgia there. I think those songs just sound better with the Yamaha synthesizer rather than FM samples on the Amiga. So anyways, so look forward to that. But he didn't just have one game to announce. He has 3 games. So Darius is another one, Darius Plus. And I'm actually not familiar with this game at all. I don't remember seeing this when I was younger. I don't think I've ever seen this game, to tell you the truth. But it looks like it has a level progression, a level tree progression. And it's just it's another shooter like R-Type. Or Blood Money, or any of those games. It has a kind of a cool interface. It has a good look. Looks like a good game. Scrolling's okay too, especially for the Atari SD. It's definitely decent. Yeah, looks good. So another shooter on the Jag. I've been meaning to go back and play. I want on the playthrough streams. I want to play some of the ST games you can't purchase, but you can download and play on the Skunk. I would like to play Dragon Breed. I would like to play Golden Axe when that comes out. And I would also like to play this one, which is the first Strider game, which was an arcade. This is an arcade port. And this certainly isn't the best port, but it doesn't look terrible. It looks okay, especially for the Atari ST. The reason why I want to play this is I have a very... I was thinking about this over the last few days when I saw this. I'm like, that I had forgotten about this game because when I was young, we had a few, I think it was ST log or ST format demo discs, and this had a demo on it. And I remember something very particular about this memory, which was when I played this game, I think you could, at will, you could transform into a robot. There was so once you collect a certain amount or you kill a certain amount of enemies, you can convert yourself into this robot. And I remember in the demo you were seemingly invincible when you were in that robot mode. I don't know if that was just a trainer for that demo or if that's just how the game worked. But I remember that was probably the first time in a video game where I experienced invincibility, which was a strange memory that came to mind, but pretty sure that was the first time, and I thought I would share that. And so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this one. So anyways, really exciting to see all 3 of those games. He has another one. I haven't checked my emails. Operation Thunderbolt. Went back to this one. Finally found where the player 2 controls were, hooked up the audio, and added mouse options. Wow. So apparently he's worked on this one before. I don't recall seeing this one myself. I must have missed it. It's a gallery shooter. An arcade gallery shooter. So it's cool that he has mouse support too. That's awesome. I've never been a huge fan of these gallery shooter games. The only one I have any affinity for is Area 51, again because of nostalgia. But I played that one recently at a Nickelcade, and it wasn't as fun as I remember it, but it was still enjoyable. I was playing with somebody else. They're a lot more fun to play with somebody else, and so, but yeah. Anyways, cool. A new gallery shooter. I know he's done Alien Syndrome, and it seems like there was one more gallery shooter that he's ported over, but I can't remember exactly what it is. Yeah. Anyways, so that's it for the news. Let's get to some programming. So I want to share something with you before we jump back into the 240p test suite. Let me first share a few things that I've updated on the 240p test suite. I believe I went in and I redid some of the code here. Demicode, I believe that's his username. He actually left a comment on one of the previous videos. I was struggling with painting these squares with a new way of quickly painting or changing data buffers. He taught me a new way of doing that, and I was struggling with doing it with these squares for some reason. I switched the code around and I fixed that, and so now that's working. It's actually working faster than it was before, though it wouldn't be noticeable typically. But anyways, so updated that. In the test patterns, I did implement the 100 IRE. I don't know how correct it is. I need somebody with an oscilloscope, I believe, to actually test that for me. But I'm not sure how to do that test, and so I'll have to talk to the 240p test suite group, the group that's in charge of maintaining this for various platforms, and see how I can get that tested. I do have access to one resource that might be able to help me out with this, somebody who's very familiar with TV signals and stuff like that. So it's his day job, and so I may be able to get that figured out, make sure that those are all correct. I don't think there's anything else I've updated in here except for the help screens. So if you push down on most of these and hit option, you're given a help screen that just talks a little bit about the test and what your controls are. And so each one of those has those now. Let's see here. I wanted to find one that has multiple pages. Yeah, so I have pagination set up on this as well. I pretty much copy and pasted the code that they were using on the GitHub for this, and so it was very portable to my text engine. I'm doing things slightly different than they're doing it in terms of painting the text, but also the box for the help window here is custom. I don't think any of the other platforms has done anything like this. What they were doing is they were just dropping back to the main menu screen and using that box, and I kind of didn't want to do that. I wanted something that felt a little bit different, so you knew that you were inside of a help screen. So I kind of need to decide whether I want to do that on the main menus, because if you'll look at these main menus, there's a help here as well. And so I may just stay on this screen for those menus, but then inside the tests, I'll have that little help box. So that's a little bit different than the other 240p test suites. They may tell me to get rid of that. We'll see. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to just drop back down to this screen specifically, but kind of like the look of a pop-up window. Anyways, audio tests. We'll be working on the sound test today, but I do have one audio test here. And just a quick disclaimer. Playtest mode, great games. Oh, sorry, Matt. I just saw your comment here. Played them all in playtest mode. Great games. I assume you're talking about the Atari ST games. Yeah, most of them are really good games, and I do want to on our Let's Play streams. I want to play some of those. I grew up with quite a few of those, and so it'll be fun to get my Atari ST fix without having to drag out and figure out how to capture my Atari ST. So, Jean-Paul would be great. Would be good to create a cartridge in case you are satisfied with your port. This test suite can be handy to check in depth in a console. Yeah, and that's kind of the point of it. And I'm going to show you a few more tests that I've been working on, more hardware tests related. In regards to building a cartridge, this will be open source, obviously, and so you can do that yourself if you want to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish every test simply because I'm just not experienced enough here in the short term. And so what I'll do is I'll probably reach out to somebody eventually and ask for help on getting those final tests. Like the MD, what is it? It's the MD Fourier test. I'm going to need a lot of help with that because I don't understand the process. I don't even know if I can generate the proper tone. Well, I should be able to. We'll see. We'll find out. I think the idea is you're creating a profile, and I don't even know if I have the hardware to properly record that and everything. And so that may take some time. Anyways, my point is that I'm probably not going to finish every test here on stream, and it's going to take a little bit longer. So if you're fine with burning a cart, or what I would suggest is just flashing it to a skunk and using it, or use a slotted cartridge. I know some people get PCBs that they put IC slots on them, and so they can reburn the ROMs and replace them or update them later. You could do that, or just use it on your JagGD if you have a JagGD. Anyways, but yeah, so an actual mass-produced cartridge of some sort may be a little bit further away. That's what I'm trying to say in terms of time. But I'm hoping to get this up and usable for people who want to use it for the tests that are here already here within the next month or two is my plan. I don't know exactly when. I still haven't figured out exactly where my boundaries are in terms of what I can and can't do too. And so once I figure that, I'll know for a little bit more for sure when this will be released. So anyways, the audio sync test is exactly what it says. So warning, sorry, it does flash here. We'll only watch this a few times, but then it makes a tone. And I'm going to show you a cool little program. Oh, let me show you a few more things before I do that. So under the hardware tools, I ported over the controller test that I did a long time ago when we first started on this project. So never plug or unplug your controllers into the Jaguar console while it is turned on. Press left and option to exit the test. Press any button to continue. So there's a little warning message there, really just to prompt you on how to exit the test, but also to tell you don't unplug or plug in your controllers. I've actually had, and I don't know if this is because of a faulty Jag console, but I have had a Pro controller, an original OEM Pro controller, die because I had unplugged it and plugged it back in at some point. Something shorted out inside of it, so you want to be really careful when you unplug and plug in your controllers. Make sure the console's off. It's worth, and I'm not the only one who's run into that problem. There's other people that have run into that problem. So anyways, I have this ported over. We can only test the one controller right now, but I have some nice sections for the team taps. It detects those header bars actually turn green if you have the team tap connected. But yeah, and it all works. I've tested it before when I was first putting this together, and I think there's a stream back there where I was showing the team tap plugged in to prove that. But anyways, so it's all there. Got that ported over. There's also, let's see here, left option. There we go. There is, these have X's on them. I need to take those X's off. But you can check the RAM and GPU, which is 4 kilobytes. I thought that one was 8. Oh, no. It's the DSP that has 8 kilobytes. And these you can just scroll through these, the memory on these. So that's all that these are for. I may go through and change these a little bit to match what the Mega Drive is doing. DSP is very similar, except it's 8K of RAM rather than just 2. Anyways, there's that, and then there's the direct RAM. So this is just the standard external RAM that all the processors, I think everything can access it. Just about everything can access it in the Jag. And this shows a little bit more on screen. And there's a lot more memory here, and so it has a fast scroll. You'll see it'll scroll by I don't even know how much that is. Hex 10000 each time, and then 256 bytes, which is a page essentially. There's 256 bytes being represented on the screen right now. And excuse me. And so you can scroll by that or by a larger amount, so you can go through RAM a little bit quicker. You'll see that there's nothing this far down in RAM, pretty much. There's some 8s down in there for some reason, and then it's all set to white down here for some reason. Probably a buffer or something at some point. Anyways, yeah, those are cool little tests there. So I've been working on it over the last few days. I've had some time during the day to work on it, so I've been doing that. So what we're going to work on today is just a normal sound test. And I can't show you the Mega Drive test, but I will be looking at that during the stream, so forgive me there. I need to just find another emulator. Maybe we'll spend a minute and do that here to begin with. But I was trying to learn how to use inside of the DSP. I actually can't show you here. There are 1K worth of waveforms embedded inside the Jaguar console. I'm just wondering, oh, there is a place I can show you that. So over at code, if we open up the removers library, we can actually see this. So let me open up the header files for jlibc of the removers library. So under Jerry, these members of a structure, the Jerry registers, expose certain things inside of Jerry that we can manipulate. And one in particular is down, there's two of them. So the DSP RAM is how we were viewing the RAM. So this is two 2048 unsigned 32-bit integers. And so that if you times that by 4, that gives you bytes. So that's why there's 4K in there, or 8K. 8K, yeah, 8K in the DSP. But just below that, you'll see down here ROM try, ROM sign, ROM amplitude amplified sign, sign. I don't know exactly what all these are, but these are different signs, and we'll listen to them here in just a moment. There's a chirp sound, a noise with a triangle wave superimposed on top of it, a delta waveform, and then just a noise waveform. And what's really cool about these is anybody who's tried to convert samples, FM samples, over to the Jag to be played either in the removers library or the, what is it, the U232 engine? I think that's what it is. It's what Raptor uses, what Jag Studio uses. Samples, they sound like Amiga samples. And Amiga samples you can get sounding pretty good, but there's always kind of a noise or a hiss or something, and so the sample isn't clean. And so I wanted to learn how to pull right out of the samples that are embedded inside the DSP, because they're mathematically clean and really cool. But dataset user, good to see you. Hi everyone, just switched in to see columns of numbers. Yep, we were looking at the Jag's RAM, and that was on hardware too, so it's good to know that test isn't crashing the 240p test suite. That doing that kind of stuff is all completely new to me, and so it's been good that things haven't been crashing left and right while doing those tests. I'm kind of glad I didn't do those on stream, because it was kind of boring figuring things out with those. And there's still a few things to work out with the DRAM viewer. But anyways, so I was wondering, oh, can I actually extract these waveforms or play them back directly from the DSP? And it turns out you can. So let me pull up another test here, or another program. Let me see if I can find it. And I'm building kind of a removers library manual, and this will be included in there as one of the sample programs. Actually, I'm going to push this out to the Jag. So JCP-R. Let me just go over to the large view so you guys can't see me typing right now, but JCP loading. Okay, just a quick disclaimer, you're going to hear some noise, and it's actually, I built a little bit of a tracker, a very rudimentary music tracker, in order to play back the sample once I've extracted it from the DSP. So you can probably hear that. Let me just double check that you can hear that. Oh yeah, you can hear that. Let me turn it up just a little bit. So it's that Lord of the Rings song. And what was really cool about this is I had to figure out how to, I had to tune the instrument. So once I extracted, in this case, the ROM sine 12, it's just a sine wave with, I think it's amplified in a certain way. Oh no, this is a harmonic. I think it's one sine wave at one octave, and then another sine wave at another octave superimposed on top of each other, and so it kind of creates a a harmonic. But yeah, once I extracted that, I had to figure out, okay, where's my A? Once I figured out my A, I knew my A. All you have to do is divide or multiply to get your octaves, essentially. But I had to figure out the ratios between the other seven notes: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I had to figure out the ratios between those and tune the instrument. And once you get one octave done, it's dividing or multiplying by 2 to get your other notes. And so once I did that, all I had to do was make a quick array that said, oh, play note A for this long and note C for this long, and just, yeah, anyways. So I have my own little tracker built right in. This is all procedurally generated using the Jag's hardware, so I didn't have to make any samples in my operating system or anything. This is all code, which is pretty cool. And so if we hit option here, again, warning, just turn this down if the sound is bothering you. But you can tune it that way. You can adjust the playback frequency. Here, I'm going to turn this down just a little bit because you can also switch the sample. So there's a chirp. If I turn that way down, it makes kind of a blip sound. And then here's a triangle wave. Turn that down up so we can hear it. Triangle wave, and then a delta, a noise. Oh, sorry, this is a noise with triangle, and then this is just a triangle. So these are all the waveforms that are stored inside the Jag that you can use for sound. And then there's a couple different sine waves. And I can start the song again. And then I have just a little fun thing here where you can switch the instrument, turn on a second instrument, which sounds a little bit better. I think it does. I can't hear it too well on my end. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. So it kind of sounds like a trumpet and a flute, almost. Anyways, fun stuff. I just realized it looks like my webcam might be out of sync. Let me see if I can get that. There we go. There we go. It's back in sync. I don't know why my camera does that. It's weird. Anyways, let me stop that. It gets old fairly quickly. JCP-R, reset that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do the audio test. In fact, let me send this back over really quick. Pull this back up. Just so we can see where that is. It's a sound test right here. And what it does on the Mega Drive version, again, and here, let's go ahead. Let's spend a little time. It's just barely hitting set o'clock, so I'll have an hour to work on this stuff. I'm going to do a quick search here. Here. While I'm doing that, why don't you guys enjoy this great little scroll test here? Watch that for just a bit while I dig up. I'm sure there's another Genesis emulator on Linux that I can that hopefully I can capture with OBS. Sega Genesis emulator Linux. Let's see what we have. Genesis accuracy and portability, Genesis Plus GX. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Linux, Genesis. Watch. All of these won't work. Genesis Plus GX Linux. Let's see if it's just, yep, looks like it is just available in the repositories. So this should be fairly easy to install. See if it has a release candidate. Yep. Looks like we have it. Oh, is it just installing RetroArch? I don't know if I can. Yeah, I think it's just. Let's see if RetroArch works. See if I can capture it. I'm a little worried I won't be able to capture it. I have to update it here. Okay, let's see if I can capture it here really quick. I'm going to just right here. I'm going to just put it on top. Window capture. Here, I'm going to go into studio mode really quick. Window capture. And this is Genesis, or let's do RetroArch. RetroArch. Oh, looks like it's capturing something. That's a good sign. Okay, studio mode. So there's RetroArch. I have to relearn how this works. Let's see here, overlays. I don't even know if I can use this. I know this is a little bit tricky to use. Yeah, there's no cores there. Load core. Oh yeah, there it is. There's the Genesis core. And give me just a second. I'm going to just want to make sure we're looking at the right things here. Load core, load content. 240p. There it is. Hey, there we go. Let me jump back over to Jaguar. It's not going to be very big. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Oh yeah, I can make that bigger. There we go. So, I don't know what my controls are. Okay, enter's working. That's okay. That's all we need. So under the audio test, let's see if I can get this. No, not that. That's option. That's help. Where are you? Oh, didn't want full screen. We'll get this. It's got to be one of these. Maybe. There we go. There it is. I found it. Okay. So, under the audio test, I'm glad you guys can see this. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it, but here under sound test, they have some sounds off of the Yamaha chip. I don't hear anything here. A 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if you guys are hearing that either. I don't know if there's any way I can check. Anyways, you can select these different sounds. I'm just trying to remember what they are. I can't remember. An FM playback, which we'll be able to do that. I may need to load up the other emulator and see if I can hear this. And then you can change between left, right, and center in terms of where the audio plays back from. In this PSG channel, I think are different sound, just the different channels, but I think it kind of works like the NES, where you have like a triangle, a sine, and then a noise channel. I think that's how it works. I don't know if that's applicable to the Jag. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to allow the user to switch between the different waveforms, change the octave for that. And so we'll just pick about a 1 kilohertz tone, and then we'll just multiply that or divide that by 2. And then we'll be able to switch between left, right, and center on the panning. So yeah, that's all we're going to do. So we're going to do the title where it says sound test, and then we're going to do it. And I'm just going to drop it on a black screen. Honestly, I don't want to drop back to this screen. Personally, I kind of want to reserve this border, this window border, for menus, not for tests. And they may force me to change that in the future, but that's kind of how I want to do it. And I'll change that in the future if they insist. So we're going to do switching the waveform, changing the octave, and then left, center, and right. And another thing we may do, just to make it a little more fun, is I did find a song on opengameart.org and one that's in public domain, and so I don't even think we need to give it credit if we don't want to, but it was a sample I originally did for the sound test on the first version of this test suite, and I want to put that in just so there's a sample playback of some sort. So anyways, so picking the sample, or picking the wave sample, the waveform, changing the octave, and then left, right, and center. And we're going to call this DSP waveforms. Yeah. And then we'll do a song playback. Cool. I am going to this emulator's taking quite a bit, so I'm actually going to kill that. We can bring it back up if we need to later. Let's go back over to code, and let's actually get some code going here for the next hour. And sorry, dataset user, no more columns of numbers today, but we'll see a few numbers, unless I run into problems, but I don't anticipate running into any issues. Okay, so under tests, I think I may already have a section, maybe not. DRAM test, DSP RAM test, GPU RAM test, and audio sync test. It doesn't look like I have a section for it yet. Passive lag test, I don't. So we're going to be adding our new test right here above the audio sync test, and I need to go figure out the name for that really quick. 240p test suite GitHub. So I've been basing this off of his Mega Drive, his Genesis port tests, and I'm just going to do a quick search for audio. Reflex timing. Let's see here. Are those tests even in here? Oh yeah, there they are. Audio sync test, and oh, he only has the one there. Alternate 240p, convert to frames. Passive lag test, LED zone. Well, where's his audio test? Not seeing it here. Let's go to the header file, see if it's even in this one. Draw convergence. Yeah, it's not even in here. In fact, he doesn't have all of his declarations for his functions in here, I don't think. Oh no, sound test. There it is. Sound test. I was wrong. So let's add that into code. Oh, let's add it right here really quick. Sound test. This is where we're going to define our function. Just that, and we declare it in our header file right here, and I'm going to do it right. Where am I doing it? Below or above? Above the audio sync test. So right there. Okay. We're just going to be doing some text boxes for everything, changing the colors of those text boxes, and we do need some. I just need some declarations for our audio samples. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to create one. We're going to call it DSP sample. And this needs to be Give me a second. It needs to be assigned 16-bit integer, if I remember correctly. And this is just going to be a pointer. Or no. Yeah. No, it's going to be an array. It's going to have 128 samples. And the way we make the sound is that's how many bytes for the sample there are in DSP. And so I just load that in, and then when we play it back, we just tell it to loop. And then we adjust the replay frequency to fiddle around with how the tone, the note. I think that's tone. I'm not an expert when it comes to music or audio. And so, in fact, there's probably going to be some changes done by somebody in the future to make this a little more accurate, or to conform a little bit to the other platforms. We're kind of doing a quick and dirty thing here. It'll be useful. The test will be useful still, but may not be as accurate as the help screen defines it to be. So I think that's all we're going to need there. DSP sample, and we'll just need to set that to null before we leave the function. Yeah, I think that's all we're going to need. We will be adding our other song here later on, but we're not going to do that right now. And hopefully I didn't delete that. I'm a little worried I may have deleted it. Honestly, I don't know if we're going to get that far today. So we'll need a few of these variables from this function. I'm just going to copy and paste some things here. Our while loop. Get that. There. Pull that back. In this hide show display, I believe everything is hidden before we come in, and so we just need to unhide everything when we jump into that while loop, and hide everything when we leave. Okay, so pulling over the sample is fairly easy. We're just running a for loop. And as long as we don't hit 128, does not, or is less than 128, we increase I, and we just copy that over. Yeah, that's all we need to do. Wait a second. I do need to go refresh my memory on this. I do it in the audio sync test. Do it right here. DSP sample. Oh wow, I don't even cast it. I think I'm supposed to cast it as a 16-bit. Yeah, this needs to have a int 116 underscore t. So casting, if you're not familiar with casting, what it does is it changes the variable type when you cast. So for example, this Jerry Rags member ROM sign 12W is actually a signed 32-bit integer. And that just means for the number it's representing, it uses 32 bits rather than 16. If you read the Jaguar SDK, what it will tell you is that yes, those are 32-bit integers, but only the last 16 bits matter. That was probably just because of whatever hardware they chose to store that data. It happened to be 32-bit, and so they are technically wasting some space there. They could have packed in some more waveforms if they wanted to. Maybe not with the signed one. Regardless, we're only worried about this first 16 bits. And so when you cast it, what this does is it essentially says, don't worry about those last 16 bits. And what that does is it ensures that when it dumps it here into this DSP sample array, that it's 16 bits. And so it conforms to that variable type. So anyways, so we have to just make sure that we do that up here as well. If I can find it. There it is. So what do we call that? In fact, we're not even going to declare this up here. We're going to declare it locally. That way we don't have to worry about a memory issue or anything like that. I will be setting this to null, though. DSP sample. before we leave. I don't think we necessarily have to. But just to be safe. If you've been following the Asterite thing, one of the problems they ran into, they did talk about this a little bit in the Atari Age thread, was he was doing something called linked lists, and I believe, if I interpreted their comment correctly, I may have this wrong. I'm actually going to be sending him an email just to make sure I understand this correctly so I don't repeat the mistake in my programs. Is on a linked list, you can pull things in and out of a list of things, and the way it's a list of things is it's a structure, and then there's a member in that structure that points to the next structure that's like it. And so what's cool about that is if you have 3 elements inside that list, you can pull out the middle one, and then you change the address that it's pointing to, so it isn't pointing to that middle one anymore, but it points to the last one, essentially shifting it up in the list. And then that last one, you can have another member in there that points to the one that is above it as well, which is cool. And the problem he was running into is when he pulled something out, I don't believe he was setting the last member in that list to a null, or there was something to do with null. I don't completely understand it. This is why I want to send an email to clarify it, just to make sure I understand what he's talking about. But it had to do when he tried to access something in that list. Because he hadn't set some element in that list to null, it was jumping to random data and causing issues. And so I like to do that with anything that's a pointer. And so an array is technically a pointer to 128 elements. And so we're just going to set that to null just to be safe. So, okay. So then we just set our DSP sample at position I to Jerry regs, so the registers and Jerry, and we're going to pull over. So I learned something else. So that program I showed you that was playing that song from Lord of the Rings, I found out for some reason whenever I tried to copy over a waveform from the DSP to a buffer like this DSP sample pointer, I couldn't do it with a switch case statement. It just wouldn't work all the time. If I printed something to the screen using the console in the removers library, it would work. And I spent about 2 hours trying to figure that out, why it was doing that, and I could not figure it out. So there could be something wrong with my code, but I actually think there's either something about the hardware I don't know, it needs some time to initialize, or it needs something to force it to start working, or there's a bug in the removers library of some sort. I'm leaning towards there's something I don't understand about the Jag hardware in regards to that, but yeah. So actually what we're going to do is we're not going to do this before we run into the while loop. We're actually going to do a switch case statement. We're not going to do a switch case statement. We're just going to use an if-else statement. So back to that problem I ran into, another way I could fix it was using an if-else statement, which functionally I'm pretty sure was no different for how I was using it than a switch case statement. And so it was mind-boggling to me that it didn't like the switch case statement. And so there could be a bug in the removers library because the switch case statement wasn't working. So we're going to create another variable here just called new sample. We're going to set it to 1 because we want this to run once right at the beginning, and this will load the sample into the buffer. So if new sample is 1, we'll run through this, and we're going to just do some if-else statements. We need an integer for sample selection, int sample selection. And how many, I think we have 8 samples, so we're going to just set this to 4, to the 4th sample, if sample selection is equal to 0, and we're just going to do each of our samples that way. So let's create a template for the other ones, for the other if statements before we do that. Yeah, let's just run it through a... Oh, what we can do is create a data pointer. So a signed 32-bit integer, we're going to just call this data pointer, and like that, equals null. We'll set that to null to begin with, and then inside of our if statement, our if switch case statement, we can set that pointer to a specific, so data pointer equals to a specific sample. So back here at our Jerry header file, we can see what those are. So we have our try. We're just going to go through. In fact, I'm just going to copy. Whoops. I'm just going to copy these over into our code so we can just reference it a little bit quicker. Let's do this. There we go. It'll be this, like that. Okay, so that's all we need to do with that. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These need to be else if. And then we just change each one of these. And now we can access any one of those waveforms to copy them out. I feel like I'm missing one. Am I missing one? Sine, sine, chirp, and try, delta, and noise. Try. Oh, sine. I missed one. There we go. We can delete that. Okay, so that's going to set our data pointer that we're going to copy from to the one that we want according to our sample selection. We can kill this, and then we run this for loop that I was starting to write up here. Put it down here, right here. Equals data pointer I, like that, and we're going to cast this as a signed 16-bit integer. So int 16 underscore t, like that, and we should have our sample ready to go, ready for playback. And we can actually test that here really quick, just by doing a set voice. So set voice, there's a few parameters we have to pass to this, and I have to look these up. So I'm opening up just the header files for the removers library. I need to just change my open script so it just opens these up with the rest of my project. Don't need to look at that, but we do need to look at, I already forgot what we were looking at, sound, the set voice. So if we look down here, set voice, right here, we need a voice number. So there's 8 channels that we can work with. That's what it's looking for. It's looking for a channel. And then the control. The control is a little bit harder to work with. This gives you a clue. 8-bit or 16-bit sample, panning, volume, and frequency. And so if you look up here, we find those options up here. And we just have to OR these all together. Because what it's doing is it's just changing bits in an integer and then sending that to the DSP to determine what the options, how the DSP is playing things back. So I'm actually going to split my view here temporarily so we can see those. And come back over here to tests. So set voice, we want our voice number, so we're going to do it on, we're going to be doing it on 2 channels, but we're going to just set the first one here, and then we'll just copy and paste it for the second channel. The reason why we do 2 channels is it helps the sound be a little bit louder. And then control. So we want it to be voice 16 because it's technically, we're running it as 16-bit samples. And then voice balance. And our first channel is going to be all the way over to the left. I assume that's the left. I'll have to check that eventually at some point. I didn't capitalize that E. And then, or our volume, so voice volume. And we're going to set this at 32. Yeah, let's do 63. We're gonna blow people's ears out. I'm kidding. We're not gonna do that. That was a joke. And then voice frequency. And our replay frequency, let's just start with something like I don't know, 5. What would be 5, 5, 12, something like that. That's half of 11, 0, 25 about. And then we have our playback frequency, which is already set up. So let me show you that really quick. We are done with this. Close current view. Okay, don't know why it didn't close the current view. That was strange. Let me show you this really quick. So if we come here to main, when the program starts, we initialize the sound driver, and I'm just running it at 16 samples, 1600 samples per VBL, I think, vertical blank, and then you init the sound driver according to that. And so and I don't completely understand the math behind this. So what this does is it says we're going to be playing the sample back at this frequency, but you need to do it according to our playback frequency. And so it's dividing something there, and that determines how quickly it plays back that sample according to our global sample rate, essentially. I think that's what's going on. Forgive me if I got that wrong, which I probably did, but it's something like that. It's dividing those two numbers to change the pitch of the sound. Pitch, that's what I was looking for earlier. Not tone, pitch. Okay, that's not all of our parameters. I should have kept looking at it, but I think I can remember the rest. We need to tell it where the sample starts at, and that's easy because it's just at DSP sample right here. And how long that sample is, and we know it's 128 bytes. And if I still, well, we can take a look at it here really quick. It's looking for the length in integers, and I think that's the byte length. So yeah, it's 128 bytes in this case. Or sorry, not bytes. Oh, that's interesting. I'm wondering in bytes. So this actually needs to be 256, I'm pretty sure, because we're dealing with 16-bit integers, which is 2 bytes. It's 8 bits per byte, right? And so we have 2 bytes in that, which means I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be 256 because it's looking for bytes. Well, we'll find out. It'll crash. Well, it won't crash. It will play some garbage at the end of the sample. Should be pretty easy to pick out if it does have a problem. And then it wants a loop start point and a loop end point, which in our case, it's the same thing as our sample start and length. So, okay, I think that's correct. Length in bytes. Yeah, it's just looking for another length. Okay, so that should play back. I'm going to put it on second channel and change the panning to 60, or what is our panning? Balance 24. So, or no, 16 right there. So 0 and 16. I'll put it on the other side. Yeah, that's fine. We will need a panning variable now that I'm thinking about it. Sorry, I'm just thinking about some variables. Panning equals, we're going to set this to 8. Maybe what we'll do, so that's 8. Maybe we'll just play it back on one channel. No, we'll play it back on two. Play it back on two. So we're going to do it on channel 1 and 2, like that. And then our panning, we'll just shift it back and forth later when we add that option for panning. So I kind of want to test this out really quick. So let's run a make command. Oh, there's a few more things I got to do. I got to add this to the menu so we can actually access it. So sound test, go to main, find our audio test menu. There it is, and it's the first case, like that. Good. Yeah. Let's run make. That's fine. Pretty sure that's fine. Let me go. Let's see if we can get rid of those warnings really quick. I think we can just cast these as const signed 32-bit integer, like that. I think that will fix. Let's do it to a couple of them. So 1708, yeah, we are getting a warning for that. So let's run make again. Let's see here. Assignment makes pointer from integer without a cast. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, this is a pointer, not a value. Assignment discards. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I guess I can just make this a const like that, and I think we'd be fine. I can't write to those. It's in ROM, it's not RAM, and so. Error, oh, whoops. Pointer targets in assignment differ in signedness. What? They should be the same. It should be assigned. There's something I'm missing. Let's go check it out. So if I come here to Jerry, oh, it is unsigned. They aren't signed. I was wrong about that. So let's go back over here, make this unsigned. Gosh, I could have sworn that these were signed. Yeah, they're definitely signed. Or unsigned. I'm pretty sure the waveform is signed though. We'll find out here soon. Pretty sure. $17.43. Oh, and we need to cast these because this parameter's expecting a character pointer like that. So it needs to treat them as that is a signed 8-bit character, or in this case, a signed 8-bit pointer. So all this does is it says instead of accessing it as a signed 16-bit integer, access it as a character, that would be a signed 8-bit integer. So interpret it as that. So instead of accessing every 16 byte, it's accessing it every 8 bytes. That's essentially what that's doing. I have to go. Jean-Paul, thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you next time. Have a good day. Make. Okay, we're almost there. Error incompatible types, 1754. Oh yeah, so it does. Yeah, I don't think I have to do this because it's an array. I think we're fine there. We'll find out. We should be okay. There we go. So let's see if we can hear anything on the hardware. And whenever you're dealing with audio on the Jag, you need to be using hardware to test. Emulators are just not very good at emulating Jaguar audio. Not hearing anything. Oh, there is something there. Let me see. In fact, you guys can probably hear it. Yep. Well, you may be hearing it, you may not. Let me JCP-R. I don't want that running the whole time. Again, disclaimer, if like solid tone noises bother you, the stream may be one you want to skip, and tomorrow maybe, depending on how far we get. Yeah. So, I'm not sure why that wasn't playing back. Well, let's see here. Let's go check unused variables. That's fine. Everything else is fine there. Oh, I forgot to change these numbers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's good. Sample selection, so we're selecting the fourth sample, which is a chirp. That's going to be loud, so I'm going to set this to 3 to begin with. SM128 I++ as assigned 16-bit. Here, I'm actually going to drop this. Reset skunk, push it back over. Whoops. Audio test. Oh, whoops, not that one. Okay, there it is. We are getting our sound. And I think, let's drop this to 1, 2, 3. Here, and I'm going to add ability to exit the program here because I don't want that sound just running all the time. It'll get annoying if I do that. So we're going to just bring in our option exit code, controller code here. Okay, I just changed the frequency on that, so it's going to be quite a bit more higher pitch. So again, disclaimer, if you're on headphones, you may want to turn your audio down just a little bit. Audio. Okay, it's working. It does sound a little bit weird, though. Uh-oh, it's still going. Sorry. I need to tell it to clear the voice when it leaves. So clear voice, there's a function in the removers library to just stop the voice, which is called clear voice. And we just run that on both channels that we started the voice on. It's weird that it changed pitch when we exited. That was very unusual. I'm going to set these back to 128. It is a bit strange. See if that helps out. Oh, whoops. I keep forgetting. There we go. Audio. No, that isn't any better. Let's see here. Panning. Pretty sure I got all those right. We're fine there. Let me go look at this again. DSP sample. This originally wasn't casted. Here, I'm going to actually force it to do this one. See if this makes a difference. Like that. Audio test. Okay, it's the same. So that is definitely, I think that's working as expected there. Cast that, that's fine. DSP sample, just load it in. Yeah, that should be working. Assigned 16-bit integer. Signed 16-bit. This is strange. Here, I'm going to create another variable here called playback frequency equals 3300. That way we just need to change one position for this, and we'll need that variable anyways later once we start creating our menu that allows us to change the octave. This is strange. It's pretty straightforward to pull that over. Data pointer. There's just something I'm missing here. Pretty sure anyways. It's acting like there's some garbage at the end of it or something. Am I getting any other warnings? Set but not used. Oh, we fixed that. Voice 16. I'm going to go double check our function here. We got the number, the control. We got those all set up. We did voice 16 for 16-bit sound. We got the balance, got the volume. We got the frequency. Pretty sure. Yes, we got the frequency. And then, so we got all of our controls, and we got our pointer to the start, the length. Yeah, and that's pretty simple. So that's all correct. DSP sample. I don't know. Oh, that's why. It's what's happening. So it's coming into this if statement, right? Well, it's going through over and over and over again and reloading it and resetting the voice. That's what's going on. So I just need to do new sample, set that back to 0. That way it doesn't jump back in there after it sets it the first time. Now, when we're able to change options a little bit later on, we'll set new sample to 1. It'll jump back in there, switch the sample according to our selection. That's why we did all that. So there we go. There's our sample. So we're set on that. I honestly don't know what a middle of the road sound is. What I can do is look at my other program. Let me load that up really quick. So I actually figured out all the notes here. So let's do C7 as our middle note, and we'll be able to divide that twice and times it twice. So we can go up 2 octaves or down 2 octaves. Yeah, that should work. In fact, I kind of want to just copy and paste those defines over. Since I did all that work, might as well. Let's do it. We got some room in this text file to put it. Let's just put it right there. And now all we have to do is, hey, I want a C7. Main test. And we set that up here, or where are you? Where are you? Right here. Playback frequency C7. That should give us a C7. Let's check it out. Oh, whoops, I forgot to save my header. There we go. Should work now. I'm just going to stay on code. We don't have anything up on screen. So there's C7. Cool. Let's add some controller code to change our sample really quick. We can do that just by copying this, actually. So we'll need 2 for, actually this will be a menu option. That's okay, we can do this. This will just be a left-right thing. Right to increase, and left to decrease. Left, like that. Okay, we're not exiting. If sample selection +1, or let's just do this. If sample selection is less than 7, because we have 8 samples, right? So 0 to 8. So as long as it's less than 7, we don't want it to go up to 8, because that will, well, it won't cause any problems. It just won't do anything. Sample selection ++. But if it does go above 7, we want to roll it back down. Sample selection, or yes, sample selection equals 0, like that. It'll roll back down. Actually, no, we're not gonna loop the menu stuff. It'll just stop at 7. Yeah, that's fine. That's what we're gonna do. And then down at the end, as long as it's greater than 0, it'll go down to 0 essentially, like that. And then we want it to set up our new sample. By setting new sample to 1, it will run back through, reset that sample. We're going to run up here a clear voice just to turn those samples off before we change them, so there isn't too much of a hiccup. There will be some slight popping when it switches the voice. I haven't figured out how to cleanly switch between those samples yet, except for to just turn it off, change it, and then turn it on again. Yeah, that should be good there. Let's see if that works. So what this will do is allow us to switch our sample, which waveform we're using from the DSP. There's the chirp. Yep. Interesting. When I hit it multiple times, it changes it a little bit. Makes me wonder if I'm not copying that over correctly. Oh, there is another thing I wanted to try. I'm going to only have it update the sample when it actually switches it. If it's already at 0, then I don't want it to do it again. I wanted to try putting this at 256 because we may not have, we may not be playing back the entire sample. So I don't know if you guys can hear that. You probably can. I think I have, oh yeah, people are commenting on the the Easter sale thread, I think. Maybe. They're commenting somewhere. Oh yeah, there's 2. While we're here, there's 2 more replies. Most insulting I've ever read. So Jag Zombies merged with Ladders Melty Street Simulator. Oh, they're making fun of Jag Zombies. That's okay. So, anyways, sorry. Quick detour. In fact, I'm going to close this down so that isn't a distraction later. Okay. Okay, we switched it so it's playing back 256 bytes rather than just 128 bytes on those samples. So what it did is it just changed the pitch, which is interesting. And it doesn't sound right. Sorry, sound warning again. That chirp is really loud. So I don't know, that may be correct. It may have just changed the pitch of it. So I'm just gonna leave those at 128 because I designed the audio playback around that, so that may change in the future. Okay, we can play back the sample. we can change which sample we're playing back. We need to start building our menu. So we're going to build some text boxes up here with our text engine, our handy dandy text engine. So text box, we're going to just call this sound title. This will just be text box. There we go. Equals new text box. Let's see if we can get at least one menu option here before the end of the day. And I have to go take a look at our text engine to remind myself of what those options are, or what the parameters are for new text box, and I'm just going to copy these over. Yeah, like that. So the text is going to be sound test, like that. The box width is just going to be, I think we just need 128 pixels for that. Oh, whoops, I gotta wrap that in quotes. The height is just going to be 9 pixels. The font we're looking at is already loaded, so we just leave that as font. There will be 0 padding. That padding is actually from an update I did for another game I'm working on, so I can do text boxes. We're not too worried about that here, though. We're just going to put this at about 128 pixels, and at 32 pixels down, it'll be attaching to the 13th layer of our display, and it will have a shadow. Then we run an update line, and I have to be reminded of that as well. I believe that's in common assets, if I remember correctly. I'm just going to copy and paste the parameters over so I can fill those in. This is why I don't have it memorized. I'm not forcing myself to memorize it. So this is just our global settings struct, our font again, which is just font, our text box, which is sound title text box. Why is that? Oh, there we go. Title text box. We are not updating the actual text or the position, and I actually put in a little more logic in that function. So if I set this to some ridiculous value, it just ignores resetting its position, and the color will be green on this. That should actually be visible, but before we check that out, we need to unload. So sound title text box equals free text box, and then sound. We pass it through title text box like that, and it just returns a null on that. Okay, let's see if that worked. Let's see if this builds. Yep, messed something up. Setting is not setting, it's settings. Settings right there. Anything else? Nope, that was it. Try it again. We should have some green text on the screen, almost centered. Probably won't be perfectly centered. Uh-oh. Why didn't it load? In function. Sometimes the skunk will do this. It won't actually load the program. There we go. Audio test. There it is, sound test. And that is almost centered, I believe. Okay, we actually don't need to play that back now. I'm going to change that so we don't have to listen to that tone all the time. So new sample set to 0, like that. Okay. We need another title. I'm just going to copy and paste this, and it's going to be called wave form title text box, like that. Waveform title text box, and then it's going to be called wave DSP waveforms. Just call it that. We're going to just drop it right below that to 48. Should be fine, and this will be... Do we want to make this red? No, let's make this white. Like that. And yeah. So that one's set up. Let's go ahead. We're going to go and just do all of our titles here in one go. I'm not going to load this each time. Waveform title text box. Unload that one. And then we need a set here for our waveform selections. Let's do this. Let's do a new set of text boxes. So we're going to create an array of pointers. We need 7 for our different waveforms, right? And waveform name text box. Form name. Need 7 of those. And then, how do we want to do this other one? I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's just, because I'm running out of time, we're going to just get this set up so we can start playback and change the, change which waveform we're playing back. So we have 7 of these, and so we're going to need to create and update 7 of these. This is 0. The first one, this one is called triangle, something like that. So there's our first one, and we're going to put this, we're going to create a list of them across the screen. So we're going to drop this down to 56 and over to 12. And we're just going to have to get them guess here to begin with, and then we'll go through and actually space them out once we get a look at it. So triangle. This one is sine. Sine wave. Something like that. Update that one. This is, I'm going to call this one amp sine wave. You know, actually these are going to be, you know what, I'm going to use their names as they show up here. So try sine, AM sine, AM sine, like that. Yeah, we'll just do that. And that way I think we can fit them all on one line. Sine 12W, sine 12W, W. There we go. Sine 12W, chirp 16, chirp 16. This is for 5. We need to change our positions on all these. This is N try, N try, N try, like that. 6, 6, 6 is delta. Delta. Oh, whoops. Changed the wrong one. Delta 6, 6 and 7, 7. This one is noise. Noise. 7, like that. So our first one was at 12. Let's do like 24 on that one. That one's a little bit longer, so 40. That one's a bit longer, so let's do 72. 102. 124. 148. And then 172. Which this probably won't work, but and then we're going to run a for loop down here to unload it, to properly unload it. For all those titles, 0 is I doesn't equal or is less than 7, I plus plus, and we're just doing this, but for all those titles. We're freeing them just like the other ones, but we're doing it in a loop because there's 7 of them, and we can use a loop to do it to keep our code shorter. Wave form name text box I, and we just copy that over to here. Why didn't that work? Copy, there we go, like that. Let's run a make command. Yeah, was previous definition. Oh, whoops, this is 8. Let's see here, 1701, conflicting types for wave form name text box. Oh, I'm actually redeclaring it. That's what it's complaining about. Get rid of those on all 8 of them. I made this mistake yesterday, actually. Just miss it. There we go. Let's see what those look like. It's probably not going to look pretty. Audio. Yeah, they're all overlapping. What I kind of want to do, well, no. Well, yes, actually I do want to do this. I want to base them all off of this first, the first one in the list. So what we're going to do is here on the X, SPRX plus, what was it, 24? Let's do 32 on that. And that way, it's, if I want to center up the entire row, I just need to change the first one. Makes this a little bit easier. $32. Let's do 80. Let's just do every 40. 120, 160, 200, 240, 280, like that. This placing stuff on the screen can be a little bit more boring because you have to rebuild it each time. It'd be cool to have a tool where I could just lay things out in the tool and it just pumps out all the values for me, and that way I don't have to guess. But yeah, that's a little bit better. Let's bump that back, pump this back about 6 pixels to 74, and this to 112. See if we can get sine and AM sign to look good. And really, I could be using the emulator for this part. 72 and 20, and let's do, this is chirp. Let's do 78 on that. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, so this next one, that was chirp and try, needs to go about 16 plus another 24, so 224. And then delta will need to be pushed over to like 52. And then this will be like 300. Like that. That should get us in the ballpark on all these. It's already 8 o'clock, so I'm going to see if I can get this menu selection working before we go. That's my goal. Let's bump and try over another 4 pixels. 8. And then this to 64. And this to 310. And then bump this back to 16. Let's do 8. Oh, whoops. Oh, I guess we're already kind of on the edge there, huh? I can't really go any further than that. So what we're gonna do is bring that back 2, bring this back 4, bring this back 8, bring this back 12 to 66, 66. This is oh, whoops, I already messed this up. 2. Oh, no, this is right. Yeah, so 68. And this is 112. Is it doubling? Yeah, I think it's doubling. Let's take a look at that. Bump it over a little bit more. Bam, sign. Come over to 66. Chirp can come back. Let's do 10. 68. Let's do 12 on that one. And then let's do 40 and 270 like that. We'll probably need to do one more. Maybe I'll just, oh, yeah. Chirp. Bring that back to 66. Noise. Delta to 5. And then 88. Okay. That should be good enough. It won't be perfect still, but I think the screen is not visible. Hello, Wilco. Sorry, I didn't see you in the chat. Good to see you. What happened? What did I sign 12W? I messed up. Oh, whoops. There we go. I accidentally put an extra 6. Yeah, I'm not really showing you guys the code right now because I'm kind of doing some boring, just pushing things back and forth. We'll switch over to it here in just a second. Delta and noise. You know what? That's good enough. I know the noise is kind of running off to the side there, but we'll be able to see it. I want to get this menu done, or at least the selection part of it. So we need to update certain things here. We're going to create another variable. Well, do I want to do that? But yeah, I want to do it in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it update those lines. So for when it updates, when we select it, and when it's playing back. So, and we're going to change them to green when it does that. The way we can do this is create a selected. No, I have to do it outside. We're gonna keep track of what our old selection was. Sample selection old equals sample selection. And so when we shift it, we can tell it to, and this way we only have to write the code once as well. So when we change the sample, what it's going to do is it's going to make the new one sample selection, the new sample selection green, and then the old one is going to be white. So sample selection old. That way we don't have to write that line more than twice. White, like that. And then down here, we just have to make sure that before we update the sample, we go sample selection old equals sample selection, and then we update the sample selection. We have to do that both here and here. And that should be it for our menu. Yes. And it won't show anything to begin with because I don't have it initialized, but when I move this, yeah. There's our menu. Cool. We got that. All right, let me exit out so you guys don't have to listen to that. Okay, so we have our first menu in. I'm just going to kind of want to tweak it around here a little bit so it looks better on screen. I am going to make this all same. We're all looking at that first item in the menu for its distance from the top of the screen. So we can bump it down another 8 pixels to 64. 64 like that. And I want to bump it over again another couple pixels, so 28, 64, 104, 150, 180. See what that looks like. Why didn't that work? Oh, whoops. Why did a capital Y? I shouldn't have done that. Man, why is it missing that? That's weird. Maybe my skunk's dying. I hope not. It's supposed to last. What is going on? There's something wrong. Here, let me bump the sleep to 3 seconds. There we go. There we go. I think it just needed a little more time to let the skunk reset. Let's hear sine. Right, AM sine over 1. Sorry, I just want this to look a bit prettier. And that to 6. Then chirp. Let's do 50 8 on chirp, and then 1, let's do 200 on that. Then bump these back just a little bit more. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, we're close. We're so close. So chirp, bring back 1 pixel. Oh, we kind of need to bring everything back another pixel, huh? 7, 2, 5, 6, and then bump this over to 2 maybe? Oh, we're close. That end try just needs to go over. Let's bump it over 3 pixels like that. Okay, got that. There, I am going to add one more thing before we call it quits here. Just a way of activating and deactivating the sound. So with joypad A, got what I want to do? Yeah, let's do joypad A. We're going to add another variable here for playback. And playback, oh sorry, you guys can't see this. Playback equals 0. So it's going to start out not playing back. And then just when they hit A, I went way far up for some reason. Why did I do that? That was weird. Playback. There we go. Playback equals the opposite of playback, so that toggles that on and off, and then I'm going to leave those on. What I need it to do though, right here, I'm going to wrap this. Wrap this. If playback like that, then it will run those. Else it will clear them, and we'll do this down at the bottom. No, we're going to leave this up here because we need that to refresh each time. Actually, we can just move these down here inside this. There we go. Okay, so this will toggle playback on and off inside of the test. It should. Let's see your playback. That's right, we need to have it run into new sample again, like that. And we're actually going to change this to redraw, because now it's not just changing the sample, it's also changing the menu. So I'm just going to replace all these and replace new sample up there. There we go. And we can actually run this now. It won't play it back. It will run into redraw and it will update our menu, so the green one is highlighted. Oh, playback. Did I spell it wrong? Go 1, 8, 2, 3. Play, yep, right there. Okay. Yeah, there, our menu's set up to begin with. And now if I hit A, yep, and I can turn it on and off now. would be fun is to add a little play symbol up at the top. Here, let's do that. That'd be fun. Let's do it. So we're going to just add a space up here, 2 spaces at our sound test menu. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put a triangle in that second space for when it's activated. Yeah, okay. And the way we do that is just down here. When we hit A, we're just going to do it down. Yeah, we're just going to do it down here. We can just set it. So sound title text box, text position, and I need to count it. Our text position is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So at position 11, we will rewrite the character there. And that will equal sorry, I'm just thinking if I actually do want to put it down here. I don't think I do, actually. We'll do that. We're actually going to do it up here. So we're just going to redraw that each time. It doesn't take a lot of time to do that. And then when it's, we'll do it down here. And it'll just be a space like that. Let me make sure my syntax is good. Looks like it is. Go over to code, or not code, Jaguar. I gotta stop the stream here soon. Okay, so if we hit A, oh, wait. Oh, I gotta run an update line. Let's just do that down here. I'm just gonna copy you. Now we'll just run once. In fact, we're going to be running a few of these update lines once we have the other menu options available. It should work now. Yeah, there's our little play sign. Okay, cool. That's kind of fun, huh? So we have that. Kind of want to run this in an emulator to find out how close. Oh, it's still going off the edge there for you guys, huh? I may need to bump all those things together a little bit. That's okay. It is working though. And I don't think it's going to crash going in and out, meaning we're unloading everything correctly. Oh, that sound test title is pretty close to the center. It's not quite centered, but it's close. All right, everyone. I think that's it for today. We'll be doing more of this tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be able to finish up the menu tomorrow. There's just a few things we got to swap out. And my camera's frozen. Why is my camera frozen? Okay, let me see if I can unfreeze that. There it is. My camera's having all sorts of issues today. I don't know why. It's weird. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, Wilco, if you're still there. And dataset user, Jean-Paul, I believe. Oh, no, Jean-Paul, you might still be around. Somebody left. Who left? I know where he's. Was it Matt? Nope. Somebody left. I'm not reading it here, though. Anyways, if you're still here, thanks for watching. Come back tomorrow. We're just going to be doing a little bit more of this. We'll finish up the menu. That should go fairly quickly. We're just changing replay frequencies and stuff, and so it'll be a lot of shifting sprites around again and making sure things highlight correctly, and that'll be that. If we finish early tomorrow, but I don't imagine we'll finish early, but if we do, I don't know what we'll do. We'll play it by ear. Maybe we'll do something fun. Maybe I'll do a little intro to the removers library or something. We'll see. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to that newsletter if you already haven't. Social media links and stuff are down in the bottom or in the description. If you want to follow me there for other notifications and other Jag news. If there's nothing else, I don't think there's anything else. I think that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.